Good morning, everyone, for everyone who is here in this time frame. Good afternoon for everyone else. This is the beauty of the things. It's quite international. So welcome everyone to this very first UFI Exchange. We're quite excited at UFI. Some people are still joining in, so I'm just going to wait a little bit that everyone is joining in from the waiting room. I hope everyone's fine in this fine morning here. Someone else? Okay. All right, I'm gonna start. We're all on some schedule. So yeah, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here. So before we start, I'd like to have some housekeeping rules for everyone around, everyone here. So as you can see, I mean, you're used to the Zoom meetings for now on, but basically you're all muted for now anyway. And if you have any questions, that's a second point, very important. You can use the chat function on the side, and the UFI team is gonna try to go through all of them, and then we will ask questions. And as soon as you have questions at the end of these sessions, you will be unmuted by the team, and then you can ask and interact with any of the speakers. So to start off, obviously for the last few months, we all went through one of the worst crises, obviously, you know, in recent human history, right? And at UFI, we spent a lot of time actually doing a lot of advocacy work for the industry to be able to reopen. In fact, we actually published a framework for reopening earlier this week that you can all check online. And the good thing is there's like good news around the world happening as we speak. In fact, for example, some parts of Germany recently announced that events will be allowed as early as May 30th. That's a lot of good news. But today we're here because we are going to hear more from Shenzhen World, who is planning its first post-COVID event on June 20th. And we want to find out as well how and what kind of measures they've put in place. So for the first speaker, I would like to welcome to the stage Mr. Daben, who is the Executive Deputy of Shenzhen World's Exhibition and Convention Center. Mr. Mao, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Géraud. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you fine.
Okay, thanks for your introduction. Hello, Jochen, Jacob, and Burns. Dear friends from the industry, this is Daben from Shenzhen World Exhibition and Convention Center. I would like, first of all, to thank UFI for organizing this online exchange meeting, which provide us with the opportunity to share our views and information on event resumption plans and preparatory measures. First of all, please allow me to give you an introduction to how Shenzhen World has been impacted by the epidemic. Shenzhen World Phase 1 was completed in September 2019 and officially opened with its first event in November 2019. From November 2019 to January 2020, a number of large-scale events were successfully held, including the Bao'an Expo of 80,000 square meters, the Greater Bay Area Industrial Expo of 200,000 square meters, the CCTV New Year concert with 5,000 audience, and the year-end celebration of Vivo, the mobile phone brand, with 8,000 participants. So all of them represented a successful debut of Shenzhen World. In the original event calendar, many international events have secured their slots starting from February of 2020, such as the Automotive Aftermarket Industry Show, Science LED Exhibition, Machinery Manufacturing Industry Exhibition, Gift Home Fair, and our first full venue event, Shenzhen International Furniture Exhibition, and so on. Due to the sudden outbreak of the virus, 10 events previously booked in the first half of the year have been either rescheduled to the second half or cancelled. In the wake of a notification from the State Council of China on May the 8th, our first show after the epidemic suspension, Gift and Home Fair, organized by Huabo, will be launched on June the 20th. During this special period, Shenzhen World has always maintained close communication with organizers. With full consideration of organizers' requirements, Shenzhen World took the initiative to coordinate with multiple parties and rearrange postponed events to the second half of the year. Besides, from February to May, Shenzhen World focused on self-improvement through enhancement of services and supporting facilities, the development and delivery of smart venue system, operational process review and optimization, and intensified training to elevate service capacity. The good news is that as of today, no new local transmitted case has been reported in the past 103 days in Shenzhen, and all patients confirmed of infection have been discharged from the hospital after recovery. To help create a safe environment for upcoming events, Shenzhen World established an epidemic prevention and control working group, which is made up of event organizers, project managers, and key management personnel from the venue, with respected responsibilities specified. As the provider of event space, Shenzhen World came up with the event period epidemic prevention and control work plan, which targets at the following 4 aspects. Firstly, different paths will be set up to separate people flow and vehicle flow, and to manage different groups of people, and corresponding signage system will be in place. Secondly, equipment and technical support will be provided for body temperature checking and security check. Thirdly, daily disinfection in the public areas of the venue will be conducted, and all people entering the venue will be required to wear masks and keep a safe distance of 1 meter, with the maximum number of people in the venues limited to 50% of the designed capacity. Fourthly, assistance will be provided to organizers to set up body temperature check, access control, security check, order maintenance, patrolling, and training on site, as well as to implement emergency response mechanism. Shenzhen World has always prioritized the safety and health of people and will join hands with organizers to ensure that the venue is hygienic, clean, and hazard-free. Meanwhile, Shenzhen World has participated in developing the UFI's global framework for reopening of exhibition industry. Criteria in this framework are now implemented for the upcoming shows. Safety measures are not restricted to the venue itself, but will also be in place in hotels, public transportation facilities, and etc. Obviously, the epidemic impact on all walks of life will continue in the short run. Therefore, in the post-epidemic era, apart from comprehensive prevention measures, Shenzhen World will also assist organizers in delivering safe and diversified online and offline events by taking advantage of both hard facilities and software. Here are what we are going to explore. 1, utilizing the Chinese-English bilingual smart and innovative service platform to meet the demands for information and services. Partnering with Huawei and China Telecom, Shenzhen World has built an intelligent bilingual digital service platform. The Shenzhen World mini program, in particular, is one of the important applications in the smart venue system. This mini program provides over a dozen of services to all people who come to our venue for business, including hotel booking, car rental, indoor navigation, smart parking, express delivery, food ordering, flight check-in, and airport transportation, etc. It will greatly speed up information transmission and improve the venue's operational efficiency. This also means less person-to-person contact during the epidemic period so as to guarantee personnel safety while enriching visitor experience. 2, tapping into 5G technology and the venue's advantages of space and facilities to integrate industrial resources and explore digital marketing. Cloud exhibition and conference is undoubtedly the buzzword in various international research reports in the past 2 months. So it is not difficult to infer that after the epidemic, online events and online-offline hybrid events will gradually become a normality to help the entire industry improve its risk resistance. Oriented towards this new trend, the venue should respond with sharpened technology and upgraded facilities. Shenzhen World included 5G construction into the design early in the planning stage, making itself the first venue in the world with full 5G coverage. Users could get online using their mobile data or venue's free Wi-Fi. They could also connect via dedicated lines for high-speed internet access. For organizers and exhibitors who have a need for online events or live streaming, a more stable and faster 5G signals transmission will instantly improve visitor experience and make business talks with buyers more efficient. Moreover, Shenzhen World is also exploring innovative ways to utilize space. At present, we are modifying the spatial layout of the media centers so as to make them more suitable for live streaming. In addition, we are introducing several service providers to design a variety of live streaming rooms, create diverse contents, and disseminate them via various platforms, offering more options to organizers and exhibitors. 3, promoting cross-industry cooperation to provide clients with high-quality packaged services. Shenzhen World is strengthening its cooperation with nearby hotels to launch new scheme of resource sharing, service customization, and joint promotion, thus contributing to the regional economic rebound. Every cloud has a silver lining. The epidemic has brought shocks as well as chances to the industry, forcing us to think about multiple development possibilities lying ahead and to get prepared. Shenzhen World stands ready to embrace new challenges and throws its arms open to organizers, exhibitors, visitors, and industry delegates from all over the world. I wish all of you good health and a smooth day at work. Take good care of yourself and hope to see you very soon at Shenzhen World. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Maus. That's very good. It's good to know that some people, some venue are reopening, and it's good for the industry to have those good news coming along. So thank you for that. We're going to hear now from Jochen Witt, who would like to address President and CEO of JWC. Jochen?
Thank you, Géraud. Thank you, Daben, for your presentation. For those of you who are surprised right now why I am talking, It's fairly simple. We have been advising Shenzhen World for the last 5 years, and it's still going on. So what I try to do here now is to take a little bit that international perspective also into Shenzhen World and what we see and what we've learned in Shenzhen World, basically also to add that sort of to the international perspective. So in my view, one thing is very, very clear right now. When we look at the past years, we can really say Asia has led the way in terms of growth in our industry. And right now, what we also see is that Asia is now leading the way, I would say, in getting back into the normal. Yeah, we will hear that a little bit later. In June, we will have the first show, which is fairly large in a way. And in August, we will have, and Jacob will talk about that, a show which is covering 320,000 square meters gross, which is about triple the size as they used to have in the past edition. Now, when we look at the sort of safety situation, we believe that comes from an international perspective, but also from the Shenzhen perspective, we believe two things are absolutely crucial and important when going forward. First of all, of course, we need to meet, I would say, the regulatory requirements, meaning we need the permission from the authorities. Very, very important to address that. But the other point is, I would say, as important as the regulatory things, and that is trust. Trust of our customers, trust of our exhibitors, trust of our visitors, that we get things right, that we offer them a very safe environment. And to build that trust, of course, we have to take measures, but we also have to communicate. And doing both, and that's what Shenzhen World is doing right now quite nicely, doing both, I think, is very, very important. Now, what has been done at Shenzhen World? First of all, I think it is important to know that all the activities of UFI, and we really have to give a big compliment to UFI and the other associations for the work which has been done in the past weeks. There was not much time. We have now a number of papers in place. We have the framework for reopening. We have the all secure standard of some organizers in UK. And then we have the good practice guide of AIPC, ICA, and UFI also. And the work which has been done here is a tremendous, I would say, basis also, so that our industry is really able to speak with one voice. And speak with one voice means basically that we try to at least apply fairly similar standards all over the world, which is not easy because on the other hand, on the other side, you have the authorities, which also have a specific view. Now, when you take all these papers and look at, particularly at Shenzhen, I think one thing is, or a number of things are really, really important. And I would like to focus not on all of the aspects we see in these papers, but really to focus on one aspect which seems to become very, very important, and that is physical distancing. Now, first of all, in a venue of 400,000 square meters gross, physical distancing is, I would say, fairly easy, at least easier than in most other venues. But there are other aspects also. If you look at Shenzhen World, you have two boulevards, one in the upper level, one in the lower level. The lower level boulevard has a width of 50 meters, the upper level of 25 meters. So you can already imagine what kind of width you have to really sort of manage visitor flow. Very, very important. We have in Shenzhen World planned it that way, that the visitor flow can be managed also into the halls and out of the halls. That was intentionally planning we had done basically in those days to make sure that we can direct visitors very, very, very variably through all the halls. We have 3 lobbies of 6,000 square meters each, meaning basically also in the registration at the entrance process, it is very, very easy basically to keep that physical distancing. We have restaurants, or let's say F&B capacity of more than 50,000 square meters, again, for physical distancing, ideal. Conference space of more than 30,000 square meters. And then there are 4 roof gardens of about 4,000 square meters each, where you can also basically apply physical distancing. So that is something which is indeed a huge advantage in Shenzhen World, And that's why we believe that the August show, which Jacob in a minute will address, the furniture show with 320,000 square meters gross, will be able to be held there under safe conditions. Yeah. Despite that, of course, we expect for the next shows somehow less visitors, but that is more or less due to the quarantine regulations the Chinese government has still implemented, and they're still in place. We expect that, but then if all things go well, I think, or I expect at least, that these quarantine sort of provisions will be lifted. At least we from our side plan to be in Shenzhen in August for the furniture fair. Yeah. Now, one thing, and then I want to close because I only have 5 minutes. One thing is very, very important, and we're all discussing digitalization. When we talk about digitalization, we very often talk about digitalization from an organizer perspective. I think it's a little bit short-sighted, because when you look at our business model, we always need basically 3, I would say, stakeholders to deliver. That's the venue, that's the organizer, that's the service provider. And any digital platform has to combine those, because in that combination, those 3 stakeholders act basically versus our customers, exhibitors and visitors. Now, the biggest issue is now who is doing what on that 3 stakeholder side. And from our perspective, and that was always a big, let's say, part of our consulting work also in Shenzhen, we said the venue has to implement the necessary technology. Meaning technology means basically starting from registration to visitor tracking, for example, yeah, to matchmaking technology, not the matchmaking software, but the technology for the organizers to use. And the organizer should be the one who is then facing the customer, but based on the technology of the venue. And I think when we look at Shenzhen World, and Daben just expressed that very nicely, what we have done there, or what has happened there basically, is a huge step into the right direction when it comes to digital. So in sum, what we see, and I'm of course a little bit biased here, but I would say there is no other venue in the world which offers right now in this situation those conditions in terms of safety, but in terms also of digital, like Shenzhen World. So on that, I want to close and want to hand over to Jacob. No, I think you, no, somebody else, you're doing that. Okay, thank you very much.
Indeed, thank you so much. It's good to hear this complementary information about Shenzhen World. So thank you so much. Indeed, before Jacob, we're gonna hear first from Mr. Burns Yeung, who is gonna speak now. He's the Deputy Managing Director of Witt Huabo Exhibitions. So, Mr. Burns, stage is yours.
Thank you. Hi everyone. Good morning to Paris and Europe, and good evening to China and also the Asia Pacific. Dear friends from the industry, thanks for UFI to give us the opportunity to share our tactics to all of you. As the first exhibition organizer to be held in coming June next month, we are all very, after the COVID-19 disease, we are all very exciting. Not only the staff, but also the industry players. This is sort of the signal that the China government have overcome the disease. Also, a signal of revitalize the local economy. Let me see. Okay. Okay. Before I go further, I'd like to give you some basic information about our show. Our shows, gift show, open twice a year, every April and October. This time in Shenzhen World, supposed was held in April 25th and 28th due to the COVID-19 disease. So we have changed 2 times. We revised to May 25th to 28th, and now with the final decision, we open on 20 to 23rd June. Our show this time occupy 8 halls, total gross area 160,000 square meter, around net square meter 64,000, target audience 60,000 to 80,000. And our show have granted the UFI accreditations since 2005, which means 15 years ago. We are also the icon gift show in China. Once we decide to reopen the show in June, we have many things to do to follow up internally and externally, just such as the floor plan reallocations, risk assessment plans, we issue the supplement contract, so and so forth. Put it in short and precise, I would like to take the following 5 points for the preparations. First of all, of course, we have to make the announcement to all our exhibitors and visitors to inform them our new updated event date, which is in June. And also, we work very close communication with the local government and the venue, which is the Shenzhen World, to see the latest requirement from the government, the latest quarantine policy, the latest country entry policy. We have to keep an eye on that, and also we have to keep communication with exhibitors and visitors. As Jochen just mentioned, we have to build trust based on the communication and also the measures. And ourselves also visit Bell exhibitor, which is the big exhibitors, to inform them our reopen day in June, to see their needs, to see their requirements, also to understand their latest business environment. Of course, the safety precaution is most critical from the organizers. We have to well prepare our all materials. Also, we have to prepare all the measurement requested by the local government, such as the real name registrations, mass physical distance, disinfectants, sprays, etc., so on and so forth. Last not the least, the show promotion of visitor. We are lucky. We are not that much overseas exhibitors because we are the domestic show, and our visitors are majority is from the Canton province and Pearl River deltas. So the visitor-wise, up to today, the pre-registration is around 63,000 people. Compared with last year, it's more or less the same. Of course, this is this time we held in the Shenzhen World, the new venue. We have been organized these events 28 years. This time we have to move to the new Shenzhen World. So we have to do a lot of logistic issue to exhibitors, also to the visitors, such as the transportations, the accommodations, also the food and beverage requirement to those exhibitors and visitors. We all have to be taken into considerations. After communications with exhibitors, we receive a lot of comments. Some are positive, in majorities, some are negative, some request that they would like to cancel the booth, some request that they would like to defer to the next editions. Many reasons behind. All in all, conclude their feedbacks, they concern about 2 things. One is safety. Second is the exhibition itself, results. Okay, talking about safety, I would say divide into 3 highest, 3 level. One is the Shenzhen city itself. As Mr. Mao from Shenzhen World just mentioned, since 103 days, we have no local disease. So Shenzhen is safe. Second, the venue. We all know that Shenzhen World managed by the very professional team led by Mr. Mo. So we have a confidence on the venue in terms of the safety measurement. Mr. Mo from Shenzhen World just introduced their safety precaution measure, which is very comprehensive. So everyone has confidence. Third level, organizer level. So we have to prepare all the measurement necessities tools. Also, all our staff, before moving to the venue next month, all staff have gone through the liquidics tests before moving to the venue, which means to give confidence to our customers. Okay, second, the most exhibitor concern is about the results. Okay, every exhibitions without the visitor cannot be so-called as success exhibitions. So apart from the healthy, normal promotion, we are executing according to our marketing plans. We also do a lot of additional channels like the e-channels, which is very popular. We also invite the Pearl River Delta area, also the Canton province, which occupies 75% of our total visitors. We also provide the online streaming to our exhibitor to get their exposure, to get their products exposure. We also have our company apps around the year, 365 years a day, not only limited to the 4 show days, but every time, every moment that the visitor or the buyers can source their ideal products through our company apps. I would like to share about the virtual events. During this critical period, many of our exhibitors, also some organizers, they organize the online seminar or the online event promotion. We are not exceptionals. We also have been organized 9 times of online seminar and online promotions to our exhibitors as an add value. For our points, the online exhibitions is only the add value truth to our offline exhibitions, because customers need to touch, need to smell, need to experience the products. So they need to face-to-face meet with the exhibitors. They need the networking on the floor. So from my point of view, the virtual exhibition is only the add values on top of the offline exhibitions. Second, the live broadcasting show is a trendy marketing tool for most of us. It's also another option for sales channels. Online streaming also can help exhibitors to get exposure. Due to the time constraints, so I would like to conclude my presentations here. In case you have questions, please feel free to email me or give us a call. We are always at your services. Last but not least, I would like to take this opportunity to thank UFI, and also thanks for the Shenzhen World. Looking forward to partner with you in coming June for the first exhibitions. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We look forward to hear how everything is going to go, but quite confident, according to all the measures in place, that it's going to go well. So, and one thing you mentioned that it's exciting to go back on the field as a staff working in the event industry. I'm really looking forward for the time I will be able myself to go to the first time at an event. So I think we all are quite looking forward to it. So
everybody welcome. Everybody are welcome.
We'll look for that. Thank you. Anyway, thank you. So we will now add for the last speaker, which hopefully it's going to work. We had some issues with connections with Jacob. But Jacob is the CEO of the Shenzhen Creative Week and Shenzhen International Furniture Exhibition that we talked about earlier. So we're gonna try to give Jacob the stage. Hopefully it's gonna work. Jacob, can you hear us? Doesn't look like it. Doesn't really look like it. Yeah, we had some issues with connection earlier today with him. That's quite sad. But maybe If Jochen, Witt, if you're here, you had some eventually comments on his behalf, if you don't mind, while we try to reconnect Jacob.
That has sent me basically his speech, and in view of the time, I just read perhaps the entrance paragraphs, and then I move on to those parts which I believe are the very, very interesting parts and very crucial parts. So I just start reading the first two paragraphs. Beginning August 2020, our fair will move to Shenzhen World Exhibition and Convention Center, covering 16 halls and delivering 161,000 square meters net on 320,000 square meters gross exhibition floor. Just for those who don't know, this is tripling the size of the previous edition of the show, which took place in the old venue. So you just can imagine what kind of dynamics you have in that area. We from the furniture fair, we have worked very closely with the Shenzhen World operations team, as well as JWC, the chief consultants for the venue. And then the seamless coordination between our teams, between the three teams, have proven to be invaluable as we navigate the current environment. And I think that's something I also express, that really working in different teams is really, really important. Now, what the furniture fair did, and I think that links very nicely over to UFI, they defined basically 3 time periods, basically before the show, during the show, and after the show. After the show means basically dismantling, and they have implemented the various safety measures to address basically all these 3 different stages of the show. They have been very, very, let's say, working closely with the government. And on the other hand, they did a lot of communication to the exhibitors and visitors. So the aspects which I mentioned before, that we have to look for, I would say, permission on the one hand, and then trust on the other hand, they worked on that over the last weeks and months diligently. And I think that is truly important. Now, in terms of measures, as I said before, Shenzhen World offers a very, very unique environment. So the furniture fair has increased the aisle size between 4.5 and 6 meters, airflow, sterilization, thermal temperature checks, mask, visitor distancing, food courts, restaurants, and so on. That has all been worked out together with the venue, basically to address first the issue of physical distancing. Now, one point is really, I think, important what the fair has done, and that is something which I would like to stress out, which I have from the speech of Jacob, and that refers to the digital part again. Yeah, they've been working, as Jacob called it, with a little company called Shenzhen. Yeah, it's not so little, I think, but okay, it's a company which is fairly known to everybody, and they created 3 distinctly unique services in that. First of all, they created a furniture cloud, which is an online platform for manufacturers that is 100% controlled by the fair. So that's a classical online digital tool. Then the second one is called DDX, which is an online platform for designers, which is also quite an interesting approach, basically to have designers on the online side. And then they did a live stream promotion, of course, where they need what I said before, the technical infrastructure of Shenzhen World. All that works very well. They launched Furniture Cloud on May 1, and already today, and that I think is an amazing success, 84% of the manufacturer exhibitors, they are on that platform, which is an amazing achievement. Yeah, and DDX will come on June 1, and what they say, of course, they have now these 3 online platforms, but they're moving on because they say it's version 1 now, and they continue with that, let's say, development in the next stages of the show. And what the idea is basically to create a permanent communication tool, which is face-to-face for a certain period, but then 365 days for different target groups. And I think that's the way to go. And I believe that we will see much more of that in our industry. So with a view to the time, I think I close here. There could be much more to say, but I think we leave that now open to questions.
Yeah. So it looks like Jacob is here, but yeah, there was some some issues. But yeah, thank you so much anyway, Jochen, for this for jumping in on Jacob's behalf. Maybe we can have Jacob say a few words about this. As I understand, is this correct that I understand that some sort of hybrid events as well? You're thinking about, like, obviously the live events, but also the to have like a year-long connection with your own attendees and clients.
Well, this is something, I mean, that we roll out typically at the end of the year. Usually our fair is in March. Obviously, it's been postponed till August. But this is something that we roll out at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And that just keeps our visibility with our visitors up and running. And I think it's really taken a lot more precedent, like right now, because when there is uncertainty, there needs to be that interaction with your visitors and your exhibitors to make sure that they are well aware of what you're intending to do, that you are still there, that you are there to support them. Yeah. And so we're in the confidence business, I would say, as well as the exhibition business. So we're building confidence with the markets. So the live streaming just puts us front and center on a weekly basis. And also the online platforms, which are version 1.0. Mm-hmm. Those are basically the B2B, and right now we're using that more as a preview of what people will see, so that when they are on site, they know where they're going. Okay. They're not wandering around. So it's very important that they get that experience, but they also have the option to see those products, what they will see in their physical form, and that they can plan their day accordingly.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the reasons that people come to shows as well, is they need to feel, they need to touch. So that's indeed important. Mm-hmm. Someone's asking what the name of the company, this online tool. What is it? Can you specify? We didn't quite hear that.
Right now, it's called Furniture Cloud, but that's the translation of the Chinese version. Right now, everything is strictly Chinese. Okay. I don't anticipate so many foreign visitors this year. So when we're rolling everything out for this year, we're just doing it all in Chinese for right now.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense, obviously, with the travel ban and quarantine, possibly as well in China, so that, well, in many countries, in fact, so that will be some issue there.
Right.
There's something maybe I don't know, for you, for Mr. Mao, for Shenzhen World, in terms of managing the flow, the visitor flow. For example, there's some venues that can expect this many attendees. The events, for example, I think yourself are planning, or I mean, it depends. It could be up to 200,000 people, but the fact of the crisis is, do you get guidance by the venue as well to reduce your target audience? How does this work in terms? Is this the venue side? Is this the organizer side who decide, okay, we can reopen, but we need to put a rule that we cannot allow more than this much person? How does this work?
Mao, you want to take this one?
Yeah, hold on. Mao is muted. Okay.
No.
Can we unmute Mr. Mao?
Hi, Géraud.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question. Actually, is the primarily the responsibility of the organizer to invite the visitors to the shows, and through this pre-registration, I think they have a quite accurate a forecast of how many people will come to the venue. And from our venue side, we work together with the organizer to design the people's flow, and to have some kind of control, if possible, to limit it the overall crowd in the halls. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
yeah, if you want to add something, Jacob.
Yeah, so right now, because I mean, we've been working with Shenzhen World on this, and when it comes to, the visitor entrances and these types of things, but, I mean, like coming from the city government and those protocols, then handed down to Shenzhen World, because they're, I mean, it's really a unified process where you have certain protocols that the city does, and then you have the venue, and then we discuss how it shapes what we do. And so right now, I mean, we're looking at each hall is 20,000 square meters, and we're looking at a max of about 3,000 to 3,500.
Okay.
So this is when it comes to, booth, the construction, the nature of the show, the floor plans, we're looking right at around like the 3,000 to 3,500 mark on a 20,000 gross hall. With that, it's really the enforcement and all of these types of things. Like these are all being figured out, and we will continue to work on this. Right, but right now that's kind of what we see as the sweet spot. Obviously, there's going to be more halls that are going to be peak times at different times and more popular than other halls, and how to manage that. This is something that we're going to have to kind of work through. But we're kind of in a unique situation because this is a new venue. We are moving there and trying to anticipate every, from A to Z. Because right now, it's like we're not in the prediction business. We're in the solving different scenarios and just looking at every single from every single angle. And should anything change, and I mean, we're looking at a little less than 3 months now. Our partners at Shenzhen World, along with JWC and us, I have no doubt that we can go work through anything that we see pop up.
Yeah. I mean, we at UFI published this framework for reopening earlier this week, but of course this is, well, technically only research based on like talking to the industry. But we're gonna, well, we all, not only UFI, but we're all gonna look through the actual reopening. And so, I mean, we hear news from Germany, from all over Europe, even the US, a little bit in China, Asia. So we're all gonna look closely at what's happening where, and obviously then we'll take the best case scenario here and there, and we'll all are in the same boats here. There was an earlier question from, I don't know if he's still here, Michael Kruppe, who had a question probably for the venue. I'm not sure exactly who else, but Michael Kruppe from SNIEC had a question earlier.
Sure, always here. No, I was just interested in the 5G because here in Shanghai we already have 5G fully covered. So Daben, what is your definition of you're the first in the world with 5G versus what we have here in Shanghai? I just want to understand the terminology.
Hi, Michael. Nice to meet you here. I think the 5G I'm talking about is the coverage in the halls, which means the installation of the technical elements in each hall. I'm not a technical man. I don't know how many the operator has to put into one hall, but it's fully covered. It's covered throughout the whole venue. I'm not sure if in your venue it's the same case.
Yeah,
because it needs technical devices, a lot of them in the halls, not only in public areas. Sorry, I cannot hear you.
Somebody muted me. No, I was just saying, thanks, Daben. I was just interested in the definition of the expression full coverage. Then it's clear for me. Thank you.
Okay, so Michael, you are welcome to visit us. Maybe at the first show, and I can show you. I will ask our technical people to lead you to each host to check what is the technology arrangement.
Good. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I know there was like one or two more questions, but I can address those directly to the speakers afterwards. We did run a little bit late, but it's okay. It was quite interesting to hear about everything and everyone. So I wanted to thank very much all the speakers who joined us this morning. Thank you so much for being here. Obviously, I wanted to thank the whole Shenzhen World team for putting this together. It was some work over the last few days, but thank you so much. Yes, basically this session has been also recorded, so it will be available on the UFI website. Please do not, forget to check UFI websites as well if you want to hear some other things about all of our sessions. And of course, Shenzhen World here, contact with us or with them directly if you have any further questions. We'd be happy to do so. So thank you again for everyone for joining, and I wish all of you a lovely day or awesome weekends. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Géraud. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.